بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمد ونصلي على رسول الكريم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, praise Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, ask him send peace and blessing on his beloved and our beloved Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This is the last chapter of the book, and similar to last week, which was the second last chapter, some sayings في ذكر كلمات المنتخب من كلام السلف الصالح, that some choice selected words from the speech of the pious, the predecessors, the early Muslims, in في الاتعاز بالقبور وما ورد عنهم من ذلك من منظور منثور. So things that they have, what is narrated from them in regards to things of sayings and also poetry that is said in regards to taking admonition from the graves. Imam al-Za'i Rahimahullah said that Yahya bin Abi Kathir narrated that Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anhu used to say in his khutbah, أين الوضاءة الحسنة وجوههم, where are the beautiful bright faces? المعجبون بشبابهم, they were infatuated with their youth, being young. And then they الذين كانوا لا يعطون الغلبة في مواطن الحرب, so they were, when they were in battle, they would not give any, like they were, no one could take them on. They wouldn't give any space or room. No one could overwhelm them, or they will never be overcome in battle because of their strength and their ability. أين الذين بنوا المدائن وحسنوها بالحيطان, where are the ones who built they built their palaces, their towns, their fortresses, and they made strong walls. وصار في ظلمات القبور, now they're in the darkness of the grave. In other narrations mention that Al-Hasan Basri Rahimahullah, he said that a young man passed and he had a very beautiful cloak, وعليه برة له حسن, like there's a beautiful cloak on him. He said Ibn Adam معجم بشبابه, that the son of Adam, the child of Adam, he's infatuated with his youth. معجم بجماله, he's infatuated with his infatuated would be right. Like he's in love, he's self-deluded, he loves himself basically. Proud. Has ujub, self-conceit. He's pride in himself over what he has. So, but the feeling is infatuated with himself. He's in love with himself. But the qabr, he will fix his body up. I'm just putting my own words. And he will meet his amal. And woe to the person and his heart, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what He requires of him is that he comes with what He requires from His ibad, from His slaves, is the salah qulubin, that they come with the one who comes to Allah with a qalbun salim, as mentioned in the Quran, that they come with a rectified heart, a good heart, that which comes as a result of iman and a'mal, obviously. It's mentioned that Abdullah bin Aizar, he said that for Ibn Adam, the children of Adam, there are two houses. Baytun ala dhahri al-ard wa baytun fi batn al-ard. The house that, the abode that he has, the house that he has above the ground, and the house that he has below the ground. And the one that is above the ground, he beautifies it. فَزَخْرَفَهُ وَزَيَّنَهُ, he beautifies it and decorates it, and he وَجَعَلَ فِي أَبْوَابًا لِلشِّمَالِ وَبَابًا لِلْجُنُوبِ, he makes doors on each side of the house, he makes doors, different entrances, and then he makes what is nice in the houses for winter and for summer, right? He'll make a very sort of spacious place and breezy place for summer, and then he'll make, like we have in Tehana, like in the subcontinent, where there's a room, basement, when it gets too hot upstairs in the old days. Now we have AC, we put AC and heater, but they had a basement and very small slits. I saw in the very old houses, one of the famous ulama, they preserved his house, and the way he used to write, he used to go downstairs and then sit and write his book. He wrote like 1,500 books. So where he used to sit downstairs, small slit is there for light, but it's very cool down there. So this person makes arrangements for his hot, like we do, but then he will go into the belly of the earth, and all of this will be ruined. and someone will come to him, that all of these things that you have, that's not ummah, is it? Huh?
Background.
Okay. If it's ummah, then I'm worried. Like, don't you see? And they, have music for their entertainment on the Zahr al-Ard to make themselves happy. And he said that, look at all the things. What have you done? Like the thing that you're going to leave, which is going to be in ruins, you're going to be behind. You've done so much for it. How much have you done for the place you're going to stay? And he said, I don't know. And then he goes, you've ruined the place. And how long are you going to stay? He goes, this is actually my real home. When you be asked these questions, if you ask the person, he goes, the place that you're leaving, I spent all that time decorating it and preparing it and make it comfortable and taking mortgage for it and whatnot, doing all the things that I had to do to do that. And then you have to leave all of that. And then the place that you're going, there's whatever, he goes, yeah, that's my place. Everybody says that. There's no one denies that we're going to go into the grave. Like it's, every single one of us will go there. There's no exception. But a person's done nothing to prepare. Can you call yourself a wanta rajul yaqul? Like you're supposed to be an intelligent person. You understand that you're going there, but you've done nothing. You've done everything to ruin that place. Then Hasan Basri also said that 2 days and 2 nights that the creation have never heard the like thereof. The first is a night that a person will spend the first night in the grave, because you're going to know straight away what's going to happen. There's no night like that. Secondly is a night immediately before the morning of the Day of Judgment. So one is the first night in the grave, but then also there's no night like the night before Qiyamah starts, because you're going to come out of the grave. So the eve of Qiyamah. And then a day that someone يوم يأتيك البشير من الله تعالى إما بالجنة والنار. Someone, a herald will come, an announcer will come, and he will give you either glad tidings of Jannah or the fire, the Day of Judgment, because somebody will come to you and he will announce to you that whether you're going to, because there's no day like this day. And then the day that you'll be given your book of deeds, either in your right hand or your left hand. And as we know in Ayat al-Quran and so forth, that a person who succeeded is given ha umuqraw kitabiyah. He'll come and hold it up, and like a person's got high distinction, and he's showing to everybody, look, I passed, and he'll be look at because how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made me succeed. And then the person who's given left hand, that's a failure. He'll be behind his back, and he'll be I wish that my book of deeds was not given to me. So that there will be no day like that day. It mentions Umar ibn Zir that he used to say in his khutbahs, if the people of Afia, the people that are in good well-being, comforts, like we are, they're in Afia, live in everything is like us, they're well fed and they are sleeping on soft beds. We are people, like us and Australians in general, let's say, people of Afia, that what will happen to their bodies in the graves, and that they should have worked, strive and struggle in the days that you have remaining in this world, from the fear of the day that the hearts and the eyes will be overturned, as mentioned in the Quran. Al-Mutarrif bin Abdullah bin Shakhir, he said, the qabr is a stage between this dunya and the akhirah, that whoever goes into it with a provision and travels with it to the akhirah, inna khayran fa khayr, then it's just goodness and goodness for this person. He prepares provisions, he prepares zad, tosha for this journey, and then when he enters the grave, he succeeded. Else, if not, he hasn't prepared any provisions, then it's shar for shar, then it's evil upon evil. One of the Salaf, a man said to the Salaf, he said, "Oh, give me advice." He goes, "Askarul mauta yantadirunak." The army of the dead, they are waiting for you to join them. That the army of the dead, there's a whole, meaning the community of the dead, they're waiting for you. Like, look, he asked for the Salaf, They didn't speak, give me some advice. We start a whole speech, advice. He said just 4 words, عسكر الموت ينتظرونك, basically 3 or 4 words, that the armies of the dead, they are waiting for, meaning the detachment or the group of the dead are waiting for you, meaning to you that you join them. So it's coming. Like if you can just have focus on that, then you fix up all the things in this world, because you know that that's leading to that. Abu Imran al-Juni said, do not be deluded from your Lord. Do not be deceived or forgetful from your Lord, and seeking his, asking him, and that when he seizes, it's a painful punishment. And he said that the faces of the awliya Allah, they are in the atbaq turab, they're within the ground, and they will be also kept for the remainder of their lives until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala resurrects them to the Jannah. So everybody has to go into the grave, even the friends of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they have to go in the grave, and they remain there till Qiyamah, until they go to their so don't forget this. There's a longer life that we're going to be spending in the grave than on the surface of the earth. Like we're doing everything for this world, and they're the planning and everything that we're doing, trying to build things in this world. But really, we should be concerned about there. And the awliya Allah, they're also in the dirt, but they're in the ground as well. But it's a garden of paradise for them, until the day of judgment, until they actually get to their thawab. Hasan Basri Rahimahullah. Hasan Basri, he keeps on mentioning a lot of mawaiz, because Hasan Basri was famous for his zuhud and his khutbahs on zuhud, that even Sahaba used to sit. I mean, that's an amazing thing. He's a tabi'i. He's like the next generation after Sahaba. Sahaba used to sit in his majlis. I mean, that shows you like what a type of person he must have been. He was very special from the khairut tabi'in, from the best of tabi'in. So I think it was Hasan Basri, that his mother and father were both slaves. They were freed, and his mother was a freed slave, Salama radiallahu anha, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam's wife. And one day his mother was out, and so the wife of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave him, milk, gave him milk, wet-nursed him. So he he didn't grow up in any house. He grew up in the Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, after Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but he grew up in the household of the Ummahatul Mu'mineen. So it's not a small thing. And so whatever tarbiyah that was done, whatever, but like his mawaiz are famous, his admonitions, that to bring he's considered one of the key people of his generation from the tabi'een, like Umar ibn Aziz in the early era, like you say, like mujaddids, like people revivers, that they brought the people's focus to akhirah. So he was present at a janazah. People gathered around him. اعملوا لمثل هذا اليوم. Do actions for the like of a day like this. Rahimahulla, may Allah have mercy upon you, because they are your brothers that are preceding you, and you are following in their footsteps. فإنما هم إخوانكم يقدمونكم وأنتم بالأثر. They are your brothers that have preceded you. They're in front of you. They're the ones who just passed their janazah, and you are following them. And you, now he directs it, أيها المخلف بعد أخيه إنك الميت غدا. You, the one who is left behind, meaning the person has died, you are the one remain. Like he addressed in singular, because we don't know who it is. Someone in this gathering is going to be next. Someone in every janazah, let's put it this way. He went, each one has got a number now. Now we don't know which one's number is first, which one's second, which one's third, but he addresses the singular. You should think yourself, although he's talking to a singular person, but he's talking to everybody. You stayed behind, that tomorrow you're going to die. And then the rest will be before, so we don't know who's. So he goes, you who are left behind, your brother, that tomorrow you'll be next. And then the rest will be after you. So where should you consider yourself? I could be the next one. And I always give this, I always mention this, and I mentioned this before in this dars as well, that if you remember Yunus Ali, his janazah, and then his brother-in-law, Abdul Rauf, he died 4 days later. Right? Yeah. And so when when he, Yunus Ali, Fijian brother, when he passed away, I was with Habib. We're at the grave. And both of us were looking at the grave. I said to Habib, my brother, it's like 10, 15 years ago, and I said to my brother, I said, he's a teenager, so I said to him, I wonder who's next of us. And then the brother-in-law of the person passed away, he was standing in front of us, and he looked in the grave as well. He turned around, he smiled, and he hugged me. This is Maulana Zain. He's come here, he used to teach in the Maktab right at the beginning 10 years ago. He turned around, he smiled, he hugged me, he was next. He died 4 days later. It was a very strange, it was a very unusual encounter. So he heard me what I said, and he turned around, hugged me, and then he was the one that was, he was the next. So when Hasan Basri is saying, so somebody's after, and the rest are coming after that in the queue. And وَالْمَيْتُ فِي أَثَرِكَ أَوَّلًا بِأَوَّلٍ. So each one, everyone is going to die, and everyone's following the dead, step by step, one by one, we're coming after. حَتَّى تَوَافُ جَمِيعًا. Until all of you will die. All of us will die. And so, قَدْ عَمَّكُمْ مَوْتٍ. There's no exclusions. Death is common. All bani, every person has to die. And then we have to go through its trials and difficulties, and then you'll be left alone in the graves, and then you'll be resurrected, and then you're presented to your Rabb Azza wa Jal. Masruq said that there's no house better for a mu'min than his grave. Ma min baytin khayrun lil mu'mini min lahdi. There is no grave that is there's no house better for a mu'min than his grave. قَدْ اسْتَرَاحَ مِنْ أَمْرِ الدُّنْيَا. He will take rest from the matters of dunya. He's a mu'min, he died with iman. This is like his enjoyment. This is now, he's partying. He's made it. Like if he's died with iman, and he's like died as a true believer with amal, then how lucky, what is a better place to go than to meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? And قَدْ اسْتَرَاحَ مِنْ أَمْرِ الدُّنْيَا أَوْ مِنْ عَذَابِ اللَّهِ. He has, either he's resting now from the matters of dunya, from bills, from tax, from everything else. Long list. I still have to do my tax. But the whole list of problems that is dunya, that whatever problems that are there, the list can be long. He's now, and also from the azab of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Because he made it. He died with iman. Bishr Maharis said, "Ni'mul manzil qabr liman ata'a Allah." The best destination, the best place, the best abode, the best house is the grave for the one who obeys Allah, on the condition that he's obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said that Fadl ibn Ghassan said that a man passed by a grave that was dug, and he said he looked into the grave, and أصبح هؤلاء الزاهدين فيما نحن فيه راغبون. The things that we desire of this world, all the things that we hold important and think that we should be, everything that we hold important, the people in the grave, they have biraghbati from, they have indifference to. They're zahid from all the things that we want. People want this, we can imagine, fill in the gaps. All the things that we're chasing after, we want, we have raghba for, we have desire for, those are the things that people of the grave, they've abandoned, they've turned their hearts away from. There was a Bedouin, and he came, جاء رابي الجنازة فأقبل يقول هنيئا يا صاحبها. So the Bedouin said to the person grave, greeting, congratulations to you, O person of the grave. So someone said, what are you talking, he goes, this tahniya, why are you doing this, congratulating the dead person? He said, why wouldn't I congratulate that he has gone now in the care of the most generous and the most kind, and he's now the guest of the great. His hospitality is great, and his Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's forgiveness is great. It is as though he goes, I felt like that's when it was like, I've never heard such a thing in my life. Like it really has impacted the person listening. He said, first time I ever heard such a thing. Ibn Abi Dunya narrated that Abu Malik Bajali said, that Abu Muawiyah said, because whenever I met Malik bin Mighwal, I think his name Mighwal, except that every time that I met, he goes, لا تغرنك حياة الدنيا واحذر القبر إن القبر شأنا. Do not be deceived by the life, by life. Fear, beware of the grave. Because every time I used to visit him or meet him, this sentence used to say, don't be tricked by this is the early Muslims. Why is he mentioning this? The early Muslims, they were very conscious of the qabr. They reminded each other constantly of it. Do not be deluded, tricked by life. Do not beware of the grave, because the grave it's an important matter. This is serious. The matter of the grave is serious. And even, we would say furthermore, like even like those people engaged in works of deen, projects, Islamic projects, can be like, you can forget about akhirah sometimes. You're so in the machine of things, running things and projects. Like I'm teaching madrasa, run madrasa, doing different projects the whole day. This, that. You can be doing those things, and they're deeni projects like teaching and hadeeth and fiqh and this, and you can totally forget. You can forget. It's understandable. People are doing jobs like they're working worldly jobs. Apparently, that's understandable. Like, but even in the deeni projects, like it can happen that you're in so much ghafla that you can even forget about. So you have to. Everybody, whether it be the alim teaching or the khatib, has to remind himself and remind each other about the. I mean, the khatib stands up and the muazzin comes right to his face. Shouts at him, so he doesn't forget. Right in front of him, the muazzin in Jummah comes right in front of him to tell it to the imam's face and to remind him, gives him a mawza before he has to give mawza to other people. Wallahu alam. But we need, probably sometimes you're teaching. That's why in books, these type of topics, the hadith on these types of topics, there's a whole raqaiq, the chapter on the heart softness. Zuhud is a whole section, the ulama, in the hadith literature, there's section for that. Even you're teaching fiqh, like jurisprudence, like do's and don'ts and halal and haram and fatwa, it's a knowledge that can make you a person, like even one of our teachers said that it's like a ilm of dunya almost. Even though it's within deen, it's deen. But because there's no remembrance of akhirah in it and Allah in it, because it's all technicals, right? Technical lists and so forth. So even you need to give time to read these heart softness, the things that will soften the heart, things like about the grave, about day of judgment, Jannah, Jahannam, etc. And then there's some poetry here at the end. So those were like statements, and there's poetry. يا حسان الوجوه سوف تموتون وتبلى الوجوه تحت التراب. Oh, the beautiful faces that eventually you are going to die, and then you will wither away. Tubla, deteriorate. The face will deteriorate under the soil. So these are poetry of the early Muslims. There's so many. اكتب يا مربي شباب للتراب سوف يأكل بلا بعد ثياب يا ذوي وجوه حسال مصنات واجسام الغضاض رطاب أكثر من نعيمها أو أقل سوف تهدون لعفر التراب قد نعتك الأيام نعيا صحيحا تفارق الإخوان وأصحاب. But yeah, I won't translate that one. Basically, like, oh, the beautiful faces and all the things that we do, like to make the delicateness and how your skin, and you do all these sort of things, increase from the luxuries or less from it, but one day you will be enjoying the luxury of the grave, put it that way, and you will leave your friends and you'll leave your family. Similar sort of poetry. And then this one, تمر أقاربي جنبات قبري كأن أقاربي لا يعرفوني. So my near ones, قريب, like my aqriba, like the near relatives, they pass by my grave, but it is though they don't know me. They pass by my grave, my relative, but as though they're strange, they don't know me. And they distribute وذوي الأموال يقتسمون مالي ولا يألون إن جحدوا ديوني. So they distribute my wealth, but they don't. What do they do? in jahadu duyuni, they deny my debts, and وقد أخذوا سهامهم وعاشوا فبالله ما أسرع ما نسوني. Because how he said they did taqsim of my miras, the wealth that I left them. They did it very quickly. Like everyone took their share of the inheritance, and I swear by Allah how quickly that they forgot me. So giving the perspective from the dead person, like how they look at the dunya, they forgot me very, very. Someone said this, there was a person that died. It's a real incident where he had built this massive house, and then the people came. He died in the house. So they said, "Can we just use the big bathroom that he built, a bathtub? Just wash the body." He goes, "No, don't wash him here. The wife, don't wash him. Don't wash him in the house, the house that he had built." But he said, "Don't wash him here, and quickly get him out of the house." So anyway, so you gotta look out for number one. Is normal. Jazakallah khair. Sheikh has experience in this. And just the last, كم ببطن الأرض ثاوي من وزير وأمير وصغير الشأن وعبد خامد الذكر حقير شملت قبور القوم في يوم قصير ولم تعرف غنيا من فقير. So this is the reality. How many in the ground? They are from the ministers and the amirs, the wazir and amir, the rulers, governors, and so forth, princes, and but at the same time, the people that have very little status and slaves, they're also going of low status, they're also going there as well. The grave has encompassed them in a very short time, and nobody knows the difference. Ghani and faqir, there's no distinction between. We're all in the ground. There's no distinction. And then there's similar sort of advice, and this is the reminder for myself and yourself. This whole book is a reminder of May Allah reward Imam Rajab Al-Hanbali Rahimahullah. He said, I completed this book, Alhamdulillah, وحسن التوفيق في 15 شهر ربيع الآخر سنة 51 و800. So 851 Hijri, so about 600 years ago. And then it was written by على يد العبد الفقير الله تعالى أحمد بن محمد الشهير بابن قطع الحنفي, another alim that wrote it. غفر له ولجميع المسلمين, Allah subhanahu forgive him and all the Muslims. Walhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. And then the alim who did the Sheikh Khalid Abdul Latif from Tarablus, Lebanon, he did published it and did the tahqiq on it, put all the references and everything and research that he completed in. The original book was finished on the 15th of Rabiul Akhir in that year, and then this was done in 1408, so nearly 36 years ago. This book was published, and from the manuscripts and so forth, put together on the 22nd of Zulqa'dah in 1408 Hijri, and Alhamdulillah bi ni'mat al-salihat in Tarablus, Tripoli in Lebanon. And then we completed, it's the 15th of Safar 1444, completed this. Inshallah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make our graves a garden from the gardens of paradise and not a pit from the pits of hell. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala Allah subhanahu accept this dars and durus. Alhamdulillah, I just summarized it. I tried to summarize as much as possible. I didn't cover everything, but the main in the first 15-20 sessions it was more to do with specific masail, the conversations in the grave, the qabr speaking to the person, the angel speaking to the person, the qabr speaking to the person, and the different things that happen. The details are there at the beginning. In the beginning dars, the later dars is more like admonitions and reminders, inshallah. Allah accept, inshallah.
Most important to know exactly what's going to happen there.
Yeah, we went through it like in 40.
And the people who have no heart, they think about it.
Yeah, actually the first videos, I'll just stop this, inshallah. The first, inshallah, there was hopefully in the future there'll be a series on the next book I was going to do after this. This took, we started in December 2020. The next book was, I was thinking 1 year for one book because we had lockdowns and travel and different things. The next book is Ahwaalul Quboor, Ahwaalul Yawm al-Qiyamah, then Sifatun Nar, and then Hadi al-Arwah ila Jannah, the book on Ibn Qayyim's book. So it's like a 4 series book. My father, Rahimahullah, said when he saw all the books, I have these books, he said, you don't want to live in dunya, you don't want to, Ahwaalul Quboor, Ahwaalul Yawm al-Qiyamah, Sifatun Nar, because it doesn't seem like you want to live in dunya. But anyway, Allah, Allah rahmu. Inshallah, jazakumullah khairah.